Alrighty. Here we go, folks. Welcome back and happy Wednesday. Joe Biden, he's doing everything he can to give Americans the middle finger on his way out of office. First, it was that ridiculous pardon of his criminal son, Hunter. Well, then he ignored reporters' questions once again when they tried to ask him about that decision as he hopped on a jet, Air Force One. And where did he take Air Force One of your tax dollars? Where did he go? He went to Africa. Now, no one really knew why Joe Biden was jetting off to Africa, of all places, at this point. I think we've all just accepted this fact that our tax dollars are being wasted, spent, paying for his final vacations. But he did take a minute while he was there to make an announcement that I'm guessing is going to make your heads explode. Watch.
You know, that's the right thing for the wealthiest nation in the world to do. And today, I'm announcing over $1 billion in new humanitarian support for Africans displaced from homes by historic droughts and food insecurity.
Yeah, folks, you heard that right. That was your president, I think, in Angola, Africa, saying that he's announcing $1 billion of your tax dollars in humanitarian aid for freaking Africa. I have to say a lot about this in just a second. Let's react. Well, our literally brain-dead president just loves giving away your money. You can go to Ukraine. It can go to Pakistan. And it's going to Africa, $1 billion to Africa for humanitarian aid. But what about the devastated residents, let's say, Asheville, North Carolina? Because Hurricane Helene ravaged North Carolina 8 weeks ago. That's 2 full months, and guess what, friends? The footage I'm playing right now, right there on the screen, if you're listening on radio, on Spotify or Apple, you can't see the devastation that we're showing you right now. Well, that's from now, and not 8 weeks ago. It's now. Incredible. It still looks like that. It's this week we're showing you, folks, a devastation. We're looking at devastation. Residents are sleeping in RVs to this day. They're sleeping in tents, all because our president gave them absolutely no help. Oh, sorry. The feds gave each broken down household $700 measly bucks. That is until the FEMA money ran out due to FEMA giving all your money, billions, to illegals around the country. That's what we call America Last. And now they know why America First was so popular this past November 5th, don't they? Well, do you have any idea how far $1 billion would go to those poor people in North Carolina right now? Maybe we could have used some of that money, to fix the busted sewage lines or clean up the debris. I don't know. Get these tax-paying Americans off their lawns in tents and back into their homes. But under Joe Biden, it's always America Last. He didn't care about Asheville. Those poor residents who lost everything they had, well, they looked to their commander-in-chief for help when they needed it most, and he bluntly told them to take a hike. Joe Biden cares more about Africa than he does about North Carolina and America. Yet somehow Americans put that clown in office. Let that sink in for just a minute. It's hard to overstate just how screwed this country has been under Joe Biden. I understand we only have 47 more days to go, but do you think a very hostile world is simply going to sit back and wait for Donald Trump? 2 U.S. Navy ships were just attacked, 2 by Houthi missiles. That's the 3rd time in 3 months that this has happened. Joe Biden hasn't said a damn word about it, and I wouldn't expect a comment from Joe this time around. As I mentioned, he's in Africa, falling asleep during meetings with world leaders. You heard me right. Watch old Joe. Watch him closely here. Watch.
With the U.S. in support of the development of the Lobito Corridor. Tanzania views the Lobito Corridor as an integral part of a broader strategy to enhance connectivity in Africa. We also appreciate the fact that the implementation of the project will provide important opportunities for Africa's development in sectors such as
And so
agriculture,
while
renewable
the African
energy.
leaders that are getting $1 billion from Joe are talking, Joe's nodding off. He's just nodding off. He's falling asleep. That's just great. The President of the United States on video, sleeping, literally sleeping at a round table with his global counterparts. Is that the image of America that's going to deter anyone from taking advantage of our leaderless, rudderless nation? Of course not, folks. This should send chills down your spine. What do you think Putin said when he saw that video? Or how about Kim Jong-un, Little Rocket Man? Do you think these tyrants feel any sort of pressure to stay in line when the damn president of the United States can't even keep his head up during a meeting? Of course not. Like I said, in 47 days, our global affairs will be much better, handled much differently. Donald Trump has been on fire since getting elected. He's told Mexico to keep their aliens, then jokingly but somewhat seriously. Trump really never jokes about anything, kind of means everything he says. He kind of seriously threatened to annex Canada right to Justin Trudeau's face. He told Hamas to step in line or get absolutely annihilated on January 20th, the day he gets inaugurated. This is the type of leader America so desperately needs. Again, remember, he did it once. Yet somehow, joyless Joy Reid over at MSNBC would rather have the guy who's drooling on himself during a meeting as he gives away $1 billion to his international equals.
This is how Trump operates on the world stage. He acts like he's everybody's boss, like he's the king of the world, which is bad news for basically everybody, unless your name is Vladimir Putin, the boss to Trump's underboss. The question now is, will any other leader stand up to him? And who? Who becomes the leader of the free world when Donald Trump ends Pax Americana as we know it?
Well, happy, Joy. Got news for you. Why do you hate this country so much, by the way? It becomes more and more clear with every ignorant sentence that Joy speaks that Joy doesn't understand the American president is supposed to lead the free world. America is a mighty force. We're a global standard for excellence, for markets, for military, for power, for innovation. At least we were before Biden rolled into office and completely destroyed that reputation. A return to American greatness is on the horizon. And Joy Reid, if you don't like it, well, then maybe you should take, I don't know, the advice of Ellen DeGeneres or Ellen DeGeneres' route and pack your designer bags and get the heck out. See how that worked out for her. If we don't raise the bar within our own country, America will soon become from the land of the free, home of the brave, to the land of the freaks and weirdos. We used to associate eagles, sports, soldiers, and our freedom with the red, white, and blue. Today, when you think about America, you see drag queens and deranged feral trannies trying to indoctrinate our children. I have to play you this clip. It's disgusting. The predator is an ACLU lawyer. Looks like a dude, sounds like a woman. Honestly, I have no idea what the hell this person is. Yet, here it is on CNN, of course, talking about how 2-year-olds know if they're trans or not.
I would say is nobody has to provide this medication to adolescents. These are not doctors being forced to provide this medication. These are doctors who are wanting to treat their patients in the best way that they know how based on the best available evidence to us. And these are young people who may have known since they were 2 years old exactly who they are, who suffered for 6-7 years before they had any relief. And what's happening here, it's not the kids who are consenting to this treatment, it's the parents who are consenting to the treatment.
If you're listening on radio again, that's a guy. He's got a mustache, and he sounds exactly like. Are you, like me, sick and tired of this transgender movement? This needs to just go away as fast as humanly possible. You just heard a guy with a mustache who sounds like a woman, probably is or was a woman, advocates for parents castrating their 2-year-old children. Can you imagine the heads that would turn if I said that sentence 5 years ago, 7 years ago? They'd call me crazy. I've been labeled an absolute lunatic. And that's how it should be. Daniel Penny is on trial right now for saving lives. Yet transgender lunatics are making millions as lawyers, as we just heard, and models, Bud Light, as they prey on our children. we should take anyone in favor of this and ship them off to some sort of reservation. Let them live amongst themselves and keep them the hell away from normal American society and their children. All right, folks, Goya Foods, Goya International, an international food conglomerate. Good friend of mine, Bobby Nonway, his family runs it. He is the CEO and founder. He's a president. In 2021, Goya launched Goya Cares, a global initiative to protect children and educate them on mental health. Goya Cares is providing schools and community centers with a preventative education curriculum and a free assembly that includes the viewing of the Goya Cares Press Pause film. Press Pause is intended to raise awareness regarding mental health issues, abuse, and bullying among children, teens, and others in our communities. Press Pause is an educational film following 15-year-old Sofia Rodriguez as she navigates adolescence, self-doubt, and an abusive relationship amid her parents' turbulent divorce. Set within the cultural context of her Hispanic family, the film explores her discomfort with unwanted attention from her uncle and the pressures of maintaining a facade of perfection in high school. It introduces the Press Pause campaign, promoting kindness and advocacy, highlighted by Sophia leaving a note saying, "You matter," for a bullied peer. The film encourages open family communication about mental health and culminates in Sophia's transformative realization of her right to seek help through the power of empathy and small acts of kindness. Press Pause displays the importance of being proactive in supporting one's community and underscores the critical importance of self-advocacy. Thank you to Goya Foods, one of our awesome sponsors. All right, today's Truth Bomb, folks. There may not be a single politician in America with less power than New York City Mayor Eric Adams, outside of the fact that he's a, criminal, and they're investigating him for that. He's completely destroyed a once great Gotham City, and everyone inside and out of it knows it now. With his tail between his legs, he's agreeing, get this, he's agreeing to work with Trump and Tom Homan on deportations as if he had any choice anyway. But listen to what Mayor Adams, it kind of blows our mind to hear this. Listen to what he had to say yesterday.
I would love to sit down with the Board of Czar and hear his thoughts on how we're going to address those who are harming our citizens. Era of cancel culture, no one is afraid to be honest about the truth. Well, cancel me, because I'm going to protect the people of the city. And if you come into this country, in this city, and think you're going to harm innocent New Yorkers and innocent migrants and asylum seekers, this is not the mayor you want to be in the city under.
Yeah, that's the same Eric Adams who, like so many other mayors, Democrat mayors in America, big city mayors, Chicago, Denver, L.A., Eric Adams was defending this mass migration, illegal immigration into our cities, into our states, these sanctuary cities. Maybe they defended it for 4 years. There are 9 million new illegals in this country because of these clowns. And now Trump wins, and Eric Adams says, well, I'm going to deport him or cancel me? You son of a bitch. If he didn't win, would you be saying that? Of course you wouldn't. It's disgusting, folks. It's the political hypocrisy. These scumbag politicians change their tune the minute the direction of the wind changes, as does the media. Joe Scarborough, Meek, I'm talking to you. Isn't it amazing how much one election can change? Suddenly, Mayor Adams is all about getting these invaders the hell out. I don't want to talk about him saying, cancel me. How about that? Yeah, cancel me? How about canceling everyone else, Mayor Adams? You Democrats tried to cancel conservatives left and right for doing exactly what you say you're going to do. I think someone on his staff should do the right thing and let the mayor know that he was canceled months ago. Truth bomb to New York City Mayor Eric Adams. What now in this new America? What does it mean to be a man in Biden's America? What does it mean to be a man in a world the left has taken over the world? We know the left refuses to entertain the true meaning of what it means to be a woman. That is, unless one is running for president of the United States. But in the process of arguing over what a woman is, and of course there is no argument there, biologically you're either a woman XX chromosome or you're a man XY chromosome. That is scientifically indisputable, and that is factual, whether the left likes it or not, or whether a new liberal Supreme Court justice is able to define what a woman is or not. I mean, really, Supreme Court justices, aren't they supposed to be well educated in order for them to decide what goes on and what's what in our lives? Am I right? But in the constant back and forth with these leftists' insanity over what a woman is or whether or not a man can be pregnant, the left has been successful at one thing. They've been successful at stripping away the role of men in our society. And I don't mean we, you and me, of course. I mean we as in the left and their progressive woke insanity. And we're really hurting as a result. America is. And this issue permeates everything, every single part of our world, from family and personal relationships to workplace and government, to our military and our standing in the world. While we consume copious amounts of popcorn watching how President Donald Trump's cabinet picks get picked apart on how they play out, as we pick apart the pardoning of Hunter Biden, and as we watch Joe Biden give $1 billion of your and my taxpayer money to Africa, a man fights for his freedom in New York. And his story lays out so much of what's wrong in Joe Biden's America, you won't believe this. The case of Daniel Penny is just one showcase of the problem I'm talking about when it comes to the dangerous redefining of what a man's role is in society, or should be and shouldn't be. Let's get into it.
Penny told the pair of detectives he was on his way to the gym after leaving class at City Tech from the J Street Metro Tech station in Brooklyn. At the 2nd Avenue stop, he said Neely got on, started to yell and threaten passengers.
Some guy came in, he's like, whipped his jacket off, and he's like, I'm going to kill everybody.
Several witnesses took the stand, including NYPD Detective Brian McCarthy, who interviewed Penny. McCarthy testified he didn't tell Penny that Neely had died during that 5th Precinct interrogation. And when Penny was questioned about why he decided to get involved in the first place, he said,
I'm not a confrontational guy. In the Marine Corps, I felt the need to step in. Yeah. There's women and children on the train.
Did you feel like someone's life was in there?
100%.
Well, that tells part of the story, so let's lay out the facts and the full story, shall we? Daniel Penny is on trial in New York. His trial revolved around an altercation on a New York City subway in May of 2023 that was recorded and later went viral, leading to Penny being charged with the manslaughter of Jordan Neely, a 30-year-old black guy, homeless man, and former street performer, after a 6-minute-long chokehold. The chokehold death resulted in an investigation from the city and a homicide ruling from the city's medical examiner. Penny was charged with second-degree manslaughter by New York prosecutors. Well, then a month later, a New York City grand jury indicted Penny for manslaughter and criminally negligent homicide. Dozens of witnesses have come forth and testified in a 7-week-long trial, with the jury starting the deliberations yesterday on Tuesday afternoon. Now, for right now at least, we're laying out the facts as we know them. Prosecutors argue that Penny remorsefully and recklessly went too far, protecting himself from Neely, who, and this is likely an understatement here, was scaring people and yelling on the train. We'll come back to that in a second. But the defense argues that Penny was protecting the train against Neely's aggressive, threatening, and unhinged rage, and that Penny's chokehold was not forceful enough to cause Neely's death. Something else. Penny, who's free on a $100,000 bond, could be imprisoned for 15 years on the manslaughter conviction and another 4 years on the negligent homicide conviction, if he gets it. And who is Daniel Penny anyway, the man himself? Well, he's a 26-year-old student studying architecture in New York City after serving 4 years in the Marines as an infantry squad leader until 2021. Those are just some of the facts, but here are some more facts. Let's talk a bit about the prosecution here, who exemplifies yet another glaring example in Biden's America, the takedown of white conservative men. Daniel Penny's prosecutor, the person prosecuting Penny, Daphna Yoron, who repeatedly referred to Penny as the white man during the trial, profiled in a magazine's 100 Women We Love, in which this Yaron brags about pioneering the restorative justice sentence for a New York City murderer. Daphne Yaron is the Manhattan prosecutor currently throwing the book at Daniel Penny, but in 2019, she gave a reduced sentence to a black man who murdered an Asian college professor as he was withdrawing cash from an ATM. Yaron said that it was under the guise of restorative justice and ended up giving that guy 10 years for manslaughter after he was originally charged with murder. And now she's doing the opposite. She's attempting to imprison a man who protected a group of people on the subway, throwing the book at Daniel Penny. Here she's talking about giving preferential treatment to marginalized criminals.
I had a murder case where the defendant did not intentionally kill the victim. He went into an ATM on the Upper West Side and tried to rob an individual. Unfortunately, it was an older individual. He was 86. And in the course of the robbery, he fell to the ground. And as a result, he died. This is, under the law, a felony murder, which is akin to intentional murder. However, when I first got the case, I learned, I took the time to learn about the defendant. And it was a strong case, so it wasn't about a whodunit. I knew immediately who did it. I could prove it. I could take it to trial that day and win it. But it wasn't about that. It was that the more I learned about the defendant and his life and the circumstances, the kinds of things that Jarrell was talking about, that one should take into account the trauma of that individual, I really felt incredibly sorry for him that he had gotten to that point in his life where he felt like there was no other choice but to commit this robbery.
So how is this possible? How is it possible that this prosecutor, you see the difference here? She's apologizing for the murder. The black dude murdered the Asian professor, killed him at the ATM, killed him, but somehow took the time to learn about the defendant and his life and his trauma, and that was more important than the fact that he committed a murder. If that's not entirely exemplary of Obama and Biden's America, I don't know what is. Because in Obama Biden's America, it's more important to concern ourselves with the plight of the criminal. In Obama Biden's America, race has to play into every single thing they do, or else it didn't really happen. In Obama Biden's America, a Hispanic or black man, by the way, can be referred to as a white supremacist for voting for Donald Trump. Think about that for a second. And in Obama Biden's America, the roles of men and women as we've known them no longer exist. What a useful way to control the narrative, the agenda, the population. How very Marxist of them. This is what happens when our society loses the plot about the roles of men and women in our society. This is what happens when we change and diminish the man's role in the world. Daniel Penny isn't a hero, they say, as such. But what he is, he's the walking epitome of masculinity that society, to be clear, a leftist-dominated society with a man like Joe Biden and Obama at the helm, they've deemed this some sort of toxic masculinity. This is what happens. This is what men are and what they're supposed to do, according to them. Men are so damn feminized in their world, in their twisted world, that when a man comes to the defense of women and children, as he very clearly stated to the police when they brought him in for questioning, that his actions are deemed heroic or even evil by many. But Daniel Penny acted instinctively the way a man does, the way a man should. He got involved. He saved lives. This isn't about heroism or the right or wrong thing to do. During closing arguments in the trial, prosecutors tried to paint Daniel Penny as a bad person because he called Jordan Neely a crackhead during his police interrogation. If you believe this, the left really doesn't like referring to people as they are, Hunter Biden. Remember, these are the same people who really would prefer you didn't refer to a pedophile as such. They prefer us referring to pedophiles as minor attracted person. Because pedophile is so demeaning to pedophiles. Let's not offend the criminals, folks. And for God's sake, do not, whatever you do, do not misgender our dearest criminals, because then you're a bigot. Jordan Neely smoked crack. He was, in fact, a crackhead. And calling him such doesn't make you a bad person. It doesn't make you a murderer. It makes you observant. Saying something that's factually correct can also somehow establish you as a bad person in Obama and Biden's America, at least in their justice system. Or worse, you can actually be punished for it, waiting to hear the jury's decision. During closing arguments, though, the defense, Daniel Penny's defense, asked a very important question. Who would you rather want on the train with you, Daniel Penny or Jordan Neely? It's an excellent question, right? In a city that's rough and dangerous at times and where police are too busy to actually fight crime, I would certainly hope there are more Daniel Pennys around, not less, and less Jordan Neely's. But the prosecution, meanwhile, would have us take issue with the fact that Penny called Neely a crackhead while speaking with police, and that the defendant, as nice and empathetic as we've heard he can be, seems to have a real blind spot for Mr. Neely. The Marine put Neely in a chokehold after the crackhead threatened to kill passengers on the subway if they didn't give him a soda. But in Obama's America, Jordan Neely is worthy of painted murals in his honor, the victim of an attack by a bad, racist white man. Harvard Emeritus Professor Alan Dershowitz said this, and I quote, "The villain in this case is Alvin Bragg. He never should have brought this case. It would be shocking to me if there were a conviction in this case. Ethics committees should be looking into Bragg. He has become a danger to the rule of law in America," end quote. Alvin freaking Bragg again. Alvin strikes again. There are no fair trials in blue cities, and most certainly not where the likes of Alvin Bragg reign supreme. Yet another destructive symptom of the America Joe Biden and Barack Obama have helped build and perpetuate. I'm not here to debate the details of the case. This is true that the forensic pathologist said the chokehold alone did not kill Jordan Neely. His blood condition, synthetic marijuana, schizophrenia, exertion is what killed Neely altogether. But that's not the point here. There's a red thread through these cases. Think George Floyd. Think Donald Trump. In many cases, other cases. It matters not that these are lifelong criminals who continue to threaten our society. It doesn't matter if they threaten the lives of innocent civilians. The criminals are the victims in Biden's America and Obama. The legacy media can't help themselves either. The left and right see two different stories. But they have a point here, because the left created this maddening world in which a man who is defending the defenseless on a subway is the evil one. And the same people who support Joe Biden pardoning his son, Hunter, are the same people who hope Daniel Penny is convicted and thrown away the key. And that's what ultimately is wrong in Joe Biden's America and Obama. And in the America the left had painstakingly established. Hunter Biden gets pardoned by his father for a decade of depravity. But Daniel Penny stands trial for protecting innocent bystanders. The liberal elites, well, they can do whatever they want to do, while everyday Americans, you and I, are punished for protecting our own and our neighbors. I'll remind the left that this was why Donald Trump has been reelected to be president of this country. We're going to fix what they've broken into millions of pieces. We need to think long and hard about the outcome and what it means to America. And more importantly, what it means to the America we lost and we want to get back. Do we want to become a society that willingly and wholeheartedly vilifies good Samaritans while glorifying the villains? No. Regardless of the outcome of the Daniel Penny trial, the average New Yorker will now think twice before helping someone in distress. If I'm a so-called good Samaritan, then why would I risk being prosecuted by Alvin Bragg? Most will now look the other way when something bad is going to go down around them. And let's face it, it's New York City. There's something bad going down around every single corner, every single day. People no longer step in to help prevent a crime. And that is the biggest crime that's happened here. All right, that's it for us, folks. On a Wednesday, I'll jump into the studio if anything happens tonight. If we hear about the Daniel Penny trial conclusion, we'll get back to you in the interim. We'll see you again tomorrow. That's it for us tonight. Wednesday, Bolling out.